Imagine inner peace, an effortless life, total contentment. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you actually felt that? It's a problem that goes to the heart of the human condition. In this video, we're going to give you a roadmap and 10 strategies for achieving inner peace right now, in the chaotic, stressful real world. Our first technique might surprise you. Many people think you create inner peace by imagining rainbows and unicorns and all the food you can eat. But that's not what the Stoics taught. To a lot of people, this teaching may sound like a paradox, but the more you think about it, the more it makes sense. There's an old saying, if you want peace, prepare for war. The equivalent for inner peace is, if you want inner peace, imagine difficulties. So many of you would probably think you should never imagine difficulties to avoid having them. But Stoicism says no to that. Stoicism teaches us that difficulties are coming. There's no way to totally escape them. You have to prepare for difficulties, plan for them, and act as if you're going to face difficulties in your life, because you will. So go ahead. Give yourself permission to imagine difficulties. Imagine meeting someone who's not nice, who doesn't get along with you today. Imagine your plans being messed up because of circumstances you can't control. Think of Marcus Aurelius, who told himself every morning, "Today, I'm going to meet meddlesome people, ungrateful people, annoying people." Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, was as powerful as an American president, yet he too had to deal with this. That's just life. When you do this exercise, when you actually imagine these conditions, you prepare yourself for facing them later. It's a mistake to think that you can just make the right choices and life will never be difficult. Life is always going to be difficult, and mentally, you should be prepared. You should train yourself to expect this. You should even go a step beyond and train yourself about what you're going to do when those conditions appear. For this exercise, you can think about the things that might go wrong today and then make plans to deal with them. As an example, I have a lot of things going on every day, and if I'm not careful, I can easily lose the time which I have carefully saved up to do those things. So I imagine things going differently than I wanted, so I can cope with what it might be like if I have less time at the end of the day. And guess what? Most of the time, I do have less time at the end of the day than I would have liked. But by doing this, I can prepare for that, and that gives me a measure of peace. If you do this, then when something difficult happens, you've already mentally put yourself in a zone for it. If you thought that could happen and thought about it, you'll be much better prepared if and when it does happen. So the first strategy is to imagine difficulties so that when they happen, you'll be less stressed out and more at peace. That brings us to our next point. Things are going to go wrong. That's how life is. Stoicism deals with reality as it is, and not how we would want it to be. Our second technique embraces this. It asks us to practice radical acceptance, even when it's hard. Radical acceptance means that we accept things once they happen as things that are happening, which we can no longer change. You have to be careful with this, but instead of pushing back against it, which is most people's impulse, I want you to try to sit with it for a moment. Just think and know that things that frustrate you are going to happen. A great example is the internet. Right now, there's millions of people who believe dumb things, and you will never ever be able to convince them all to think better. Because there's so many of them, and there's only one of you, and most of us have a lot of higher priority things to do before you have the luxury of arguing all day on the internet. So that's an example of something that we have to accept. There really is no way to change it. You can't change the thoughts of millions of people as a regular human being on any kind of realistic timeline. It just is the way things are. What this strategy is asking you to do is to really dig into your place in the world and think about the way that things are. The example I've given is that lots of people will continue to think dumb things, but there are a lot of other things like that which are going to continue to be true also. The way that your city is run is going to have problems. The way that your country is run is also going to have issues. Your government might shut down. By the time that kind of problem trickles all the way down to you, it's too late to stop it. Know that this problem goes beyond politics. Think about it at the level of your own life. For example, a lot of us have to work really hard for the money that we make, and it doesn't ever feel like there's enough time to relax or to enjoy ourselves. But that's how it is. I wish I could tell you that you just have to say these magic words and it'll solve the problem. But there are no magic words that can stop the natural and inevitable difficulties of life. That's what radical acceptance is about. It's about seeing how things are and then accepting them on that level. And that can help because when we do that, we get less stressed out. We know some things are out of our control, and what we need to do when we encounter those things is accept, not fight. Doing that can give us a measure of inner peace. For example, if we have a hectic schedule and we're always dealing with stressful things, it can easily become too much for us. That costs us our inner peace. And that's why our third technique is to give yourself a measure of inner peace by building white space into your schedule. That is, include breaks and include extra time in your schedule. It's so easy in the world we live in the productive and efficient modern workplace, to fill up 100% of your schedule with activities. That's a recipe for burnout and for being exhausted all the time. Note that you can do this and still work hard. The point is that there's a limit you need to remember. Remember, there's only 24 hours in a day. You've got to subtract probably a third of those hours for sleep. And then of the time that's left, you're still going to have to do the laundry and take out the trash and do stuff which shrinks your time even more. So think about the time you have and how much time you can carve out for rest. Because you need to rest. Give yourself some time in the time that you've got to have peace. Time to relax. Time to do nothing. Time to be at peace. Because downtime is the best kind of time you have to give yourself peace. Give yourself empty time when you can relax, when you can look out the window, when you can go for a walk, and when you're not being bothered or worried about a deadline hanging over your head or a bill you have to pay or anything. So look at your schedule and create dead space to create inner peace for yourself. You deserve it, and it will definitely help. Now, so far we've talked about circumstances and conditions, and those are real, and they're always going to be out there. One thing the Stoics talked about is things you can't change and things you can change. One of those things you can change is people, but you have to be careful because you can only change them so much, especially when you've got other things you need to focus on and do. People have a huge impact on our inner peace and our inner life. There's a few things you can do to deal better with people, but one of the simplest ones you can do is our next technique. You can simply stop trying to change people. The easiest way to apply this is at the points farthest from your circle, since it's hard to change people who barely realize you exist. You can change the partner you live with the most. You can change family and friends a little less. As you move away from that, be realistic about what you can do. Don't try to imagine you're going to give them a total personality makeover, especially if they're not open to it. And even if they are, be realistic. How much are they really going to change? So stop expecting too much change from the people around you if it doesn't look like it's going to happen. If they're uncooperative, then change probably isn't in the cards. Lower your expectations to what's realistically possible instead of what you want to happen. A bigger problem nowadays is that we look at the internet and we see lots of people further away from us and we think we can change them. And that's pretty hopeless, honestly, most of the time. At least for the people around you, you can talk to them and deal with them. You have a chance of changing them. But once your presence just becomes words and you're dealing with people who have the opposite point of view, it becomes really hard to make any progress. We've asked you to be realistic about how much you can change the people around you, but for people who are far away, who are maybe even hostile to you, consider letting that one go. Nobody wins battles like that very often. Besides, There are better uses for your time. You may not be able to change some people, but that doesn't mean you can't do anything. The people around us affect our inner peace, which is why it's important to be selective about who those people are. So if there are toxic people in your life who stress you out and you don't get along with, consider, for our next technique, creating boundaries around them. Consider talking to them less often. Maybe you have to talk to toxic people. If you do, try to make it structured. Make it a weekly phone call that you restrict to 15 minutes. If there's someone who stresses you out and for some reason you talk to them for an hour every day, try to bring that down. Make it 30 minutes if you can. If you're in a work situation and you have a difficult coworker, then give them the time that's required, but without giving them a whole lot more. Create boundaries around toxic people because it's going to reduce the stress in your life, and that's also going to create more peace. Our next technique is the reverse of this. Sometimes you have to create space around people. Other times, people have to accept the space around you. This technique has to do with acceptance. You have to accept that your inner peace may require disappointing some people. Some people want more than you can give. And the problem is in the wanting. Either they learn to want less, which a lot of people are really reluctant to do, or they're going to be disappointed. You have to accept that the way that you're living your life is going to displease some people, and that's okay. That's life. I don't think there's any way you can hope to satisfy everybody. You can satisfy some people. That's the good news. The bad news is a lot of people will be unsatisfied because they are making some kind of demand, and you won't be able to meet it. When you look closely at those situations, it's not very fair for them to expect that from you. If someone just knows you and wants your time, remember your time is yours to give out. And how you use your time affects your inner peace. It's your choice to make. You've got to distribute your time in a way that improves your inner peace and leaves you happy. It means some people will be unhappy. That's their problem, not yours. Try to be nice about it, but accept that some people may feel let down by the choices you make, and it's up to them to adjust. Our next point is related. To have real inner peace, you've got to choose your battles. You don't have an infinite amount of energy, and you don't have an infinite amount of time. You can only change so much. You've got to ration your time so it goes to the areas which deserve them. To get more effective at the things that matter, you have to concentrate on them. This means doing fewer things outside of the things that you care about, outside of what you're trying to improve. So pick your battles. Pick the things that are important to you to do and let the other ones go. Don't let them mess with your inner peace. Don't let them worry you. You can say these words to yourself. I'm here to work on the things that matter. I accept that other things may go wrong, but that's the cost of doing business. That's what it means to do something really well, which is what I'm here to do. Accept that and move on. Until now, we've talked about negative points to focus on, but let's move our focus to one of the positives. One of the important things you can do to increase your inner peace is to cultivate gratitude. Think about what makes you happy and practice feeling gratitude towards it. Think about people that make you happy and practice feeling gratitude towards them. In fact, think about calling the people who make you happy and telling them that they make you happy. Almost everyone likes to hear that, and it's a good practice for our personal relationships. So practice gratitude towards the good people in your life and the positive circumstances that have brought you where you are. You can do a lot with your mind to increase your inner peace through gratitude. Another thing we can do has more to do with expectations. It's to let go of the ideal, let go of the perfect. In my opinion, we live in a stressful world that asks a lot of us. For most of us, there is just no way to do everything to a really high standard. If you're a person living in an expensive city, or supporting a family, or working multiple jobs, there is no way that you can do all that and do it perfectly. All you can do is use your time effectively in a world where you don't know the future and you don't know what's going to happen. So some of your plans will work out and some of them won't, because that's the nature of plans and time and the limits of our ability to predict. The problem is, we can get too ambitious and overconfident about the real world. We can get in the habit of thinking, maybe I can be perfect, maybe I can do everything perfectly well. And then we feel disappointed and stressed out when that doesn't work out, because of course it doesn't work out. We will never be able to make plans which are perfectly expressed in the real world. We have to make our peace with that, because we can't change the world so that it always agrees with our plans. But we can change ourselves. So try to hold the thought in your mind that things won't be perfect, but you're going to do your best, and that is good enough. Our final point has to do with the relationship between your emotions and peace. Our suggestion is to try to process and not suppress. So many of us have strong emotions, desires, and ambitions. We want to go out there. We want to make a difference in the world. We want to make money. We want to give ourselves a vacation and material advantages to our friends and family. As those ambitions pile up, our feelings start becoming ponderous and hard to carry. It adds a lot of stress and a weight that's not conducive to relaxation. We have to find a way to make them lighter, to ease the burden. One way we can do that is to hold our emotions in our heart and hear them out. Try to take a little break and give your emotions some space to be felt and for you to listen. Oftentimes, our emotions are telling us important things about our progress and our place in life. In order to benefit, we have to listen to them. If we don't listen, those lessons won't be heard. We won't learn from them. We won't have the chance to improve like we could, and that's a missed opportunity. So listen to your feelings, accept them, and know that we all have to do this. Every human being has to undergo this. Because every one of us has big, strong feelings which may not fit at times, like when you're trying to do your taxes. But even if you don't have the time to feel those feelings right now in this moment, you will have time eventually. You'll have space eventually. And when you do have that time and that space, use it to examine your emotions as a path towards inner peace. That concludes our roadmap. You're now equipped with 10 strategies you can use to feel inner peace. Use them, and your peace will increase. Let's recap. First, imagine difficulties. Prepare for setbacks, so you are less stressed when they inevitably occur. Second, practice radical acceptance. Accept things that are outside of your control, distinguishing them from what you can control. Third, build white space into your schedule. Create buffer time and dead space for rest and mental decompression. Fourth, stop trying to change people. Ration your energy by accepting people as they are, especially those outside your immediate influence. Fifth, create boundaries. Around toxic people. Establish firm limits on time and access to protect your emotional space. Sixth, accept disappointment as a trade-off for peace. Prioritize your peace, even if it means saying no and disappointing others who demand too much of your time. Seventh, choose your battles. Focus your finite energy on the things that truly matter to your values and goals, letting the small stuff go. Eighth, cultivate gratitude. Actively reorient your mind away from deficiency and toward what you already have and who you love. Ninth, let go of the perfect. Abandon the exhausting pursuit of flawlessness and accept that your best effort is good enough. Finally, 10th, process your emotions. Listen to your strong feelings and desires to learn from them rather than letting them pile up and create stress. In the end, this is a kind of work that every one of us must learn to do on our end. Ultimately, inner peace is about having a good relationship with yourself. Stoicism teaches us how to do that, partly by accepting what is, and partly by having good practices like gratitude and relationships with the kind of people who can help us feel more at peace. If you do these things, you will see a difference, you will see improvement. And from that point on, it's just a matter of doing it over and over and better, regularly, until peace is yours. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next one.